Hello, world. I'm sorry. You can plug in the South Park. I mean, we're sorry. I don't know why, but in my memory, it was Brian Williams, but it's actually Brian Johnson.
I said Brian Johnson, I think once or twice
Yeah.
too. So
And you must not have looked at my board because I don't know why, I've always thought it was Brian Williams. I even researched, I saw it was different, and I still put Brian Williams
yeah.
up
So
there.
last week we did AC/DC, and we wrote on the board Brian Williams.
I thought that was the name.
Wasn't that the newscasters too, or the?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So.
So I deserve raspberries. Which coincidentally is the band Eric Carmen came from.
Before he went solo. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh crap!
What?
I thought we were doing Eric Carr of Kiss.
Man!
No.
Not Eric Carmen.
Yeah. Eric Carmen.
Okay, so he started in the Raspberries, and if you've never heard of the Raspberries, perhaps you heard them this past few weeks. Since he died, they've been playing their stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually heard Go All the Way on the radio.
I've listened to their Raspberry songs, and I didn't recognize not a one.
Not me neither. But I mean, I think I did hear one when we went out to eat that one night. So, Eric Carmen stuff you do hear, and man, because he was in the Raspberries.
How many do you hear?
What, Eric Carmen's?
Yeah. I hear Hungry Eyes is what I hear.
You know what, that pretty much is it.
Yeah. I never hear Make Me Lose Control.
If I do hear All By Myself, guaranteed I'm not listening to it. But that is his highest charted song ever. Number 2, I forget what beat it out, but it was in the 70s, so.
You know, when I heard Make Me Lose Control, I thought that was late 70s too.
Because he meant for it to sound like that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so he wasn't all that great of a guy to look at too. He had some weird looks to his face. Like he did not look like the rock and roll person. By the way, he's from Cleveland.
Yes, he was born in Cleveland. Yep.
Near us.
Near us.
A lot of people from Cleveland we probably talked about. So nice span of a career. The guy we'll talk about next week, more famous than Eric Carmen, but his career was shorter.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, and Eric Carmen's been with like Ringo Starr's All-Star Band, so he's up there with a lot of the artists we've done. Have joined
And he's wrote
Ringo.
some stuff too, so he has a good career.
Has written 3, maybe up to 10 songs that other people. I saw Olivia Newton-John did one of his songs.
Yeah, a lot of people made his stuff more famous because when he did it, they didn't go anywhere.
co-wrote Almost Paradise for Footloose, even though he didn't sing it.
Right.
Which is funny. Okay, Footloose is based on, it's a movie saying you can't dance. And what's the other song you say is for Hungry Eyes, which is from Dirty Dancing. So,
That is pretty good.
yeah, 2 movies and then Make Me Lose Control. I like it. Well, we'll get to our top 5.
So yeah, he's sang some songs that didn't do very good.
Yeah.
And other people have made into hits. Sean Cassidy being
Sean
major.
Cassidy, he wrote 3 hits for Sean Cassidy.
I think.
But the only song I remember from Sean Cassidy growing up was Da Do Run Run.
Yeah. But some song called Hey Deanie he made more famous.
I don't recall that one.
And then Louise Mandrell took one of his songs.
Right.
I think this is the one that we're talking about is in our top 5. That's Barbara Mandrell's little sister.
Yeah.
But her career I think was short too. He didn't release it, but he had a song in 1977 called Marathon Man. 1 year after the movie came out. So
it wasn't based on the movie, I don't think.
Yeah, and then it's funny that you didn't recognize any Guardian song because some people probably do know Go All the Way. It was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And supposedly in a key scene. Now whether they connected it to the Raspberries, You
Right.
probably heard it on the radio and goes, hey, that was in that movie.
Yeah, and now you showed me the clip. Brian Regan, the comedian,
Yes.
mentions his biggest hit.
Did you watch the
Yeah,
whole
I
set?
watched the entire. Yeah, it's well, I locked myself out of my car, so I had time.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the entire special. So until
Yeah, that was pretty good. So he says 2 ways to take the phrase all by myself.
Right.
One is when you're a kid and you come up and be like, I did it all by myself. And it's like a good thing.
Yeah,
But then when you're an adult
it's
and you're lonely.
yeah, and he's saying all by myself.
Yeah. And Celine Dion put that one out too.
Right.
She made it more famous. But so his first 2 solo hits, All by Myself being one of them, and then the other one, Never Gonna Love Again.
Yes.
Okay. Those 2 songs somehow are based off of 2 classical music type songs, some orchestra music
Yeah.
by Rachmaninoff.
Yeah, and that he's not the first one to do that. If you remember, Billy Joel from Innocent Man has This Night,
Oh yeah.
which is based on Beethoven.
Okay. But my question to you is, do you know who Rachmaninoff is?
I've heard of the name. I don't.
You know where you heard the name?
Where?
Willy Wonka, the
Okay.
original. So they're in this small room and they need to get through this door.
Okay.
And this little keyboard comes out and Gene Wilder goes, diddly diddly, and the girl goes, Rachmaninoff.
Okay.
It's the only thing I know. I don't think either of his songs were based off of that Willy Wonka piano.
I got you.
All right, so he does have kind of a neat thing. It's not a record, I don't think, but there was one time where I think it might have been even in the top 10 or 20. Top 20, let's say top 20. He had 3 songs coinciding that he wrote. 2 Sean Cassidy songs,
Right.
and one of his songs.
Right. That
was
was
in the top
20.
20.
Top 20.
I think it was
Okay.
top 20.
Okay.
Was it top 5?
You could be right.
I don't know. I don't know that it was. Yeah, I don't know that it was in top 5 that high, but
Yeah.
an interesting feat
Yeah.
though. So similar like the Bee Gees, they did that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but hey, that's all I have for Eric Carmen.
Yeah.
Who died March 11th.
Now,
right?
do we know any other musician named Eric? That's now I know.
Just Eric Carr.
Eric Carr from Kiss.
Yeah, well, we did Eric Clapton.
Oh, Eric Clapton. Duh, okay. How did I not remember
I don't know. And I think up until this point, with all the artists we've done, we're in the 90s now. About 30, within our videos, there have been 30 people that started in a group and went solo. Eric Carmen being right around 30.
Yeah.
So a lot of groups in the 80s decided to take solo turns. Now his was in the 70s, obviously. He started it. No, he didn't start. It's close, probably.
Yeah. All right. So we're ready to get to our
well,
top
we're
5.
not going to a top 10. We could do top 10.
We could.
We could. Because between the Raspberries and Eric Carmen, they had, almost 20
Yeah, but I would
ranked
say
songs.
his recognizable hits are very low. So
Yes, that's why it's a top 5. All right, so one honorable mention coming from me because they're hard to choose from. And the song I chose was "She Did It," which was the song.
Olivia Newton-John did. Right?
Yeah, that was the song on the charts from him. While 2 Sean Cassidy songs he wrote were
Right,
also on the charts.
but that's the one that Olivia Newton-John remade.
Yes. All right, so that's my honorable mention. I forget which album it came from. Was there
Probably,
he had an album
Books
called
Against the Courage or something like that.
Well, yeah, you're right. I think you are right. Okay.
Before you get one more thing I thought of is that the Raspberries. I don't know if you looked at anything for the Raspberries besides
I did,
Eric Carmen. Okay, their first album, the cover was a scratch and sniff, and it smelled like raspberries.
I heard of it. Yeah. The professor rocked did a video specifically on Eric Carmen. He mentioned
Scratch and sniff was a big thing in our childhood. I don't know
Do
why.
you own that album?
Yes.
And does it still stink?
Well, yeah. Here's the thing with Scratch and Sniff when we were kids, is that they did both good smells and bad smells. And why?
Well,
why?
And if
Just do the good smells.
The good smell would eventually turn into the bad smell, and then there
Oh,
would
yeah.
stay. All right. Okay. So going to number 5, which I'm doing this time. When I did Irene Cara, I mistakenly skipped over 5.
Oh, yeah.
I won't do that this time. So this is our third top 5. We did Meatloaf, Irene Cara, now Eric Carmen. Okay. And number 5 is "I Want to Hear It From Your Lips."
As opposed to hit her what? Her ears?
Yeah.
Let me hear it from your ears.
Well,
How about your eyes? Because here's the thing. From your lips, you eat when you get hungry. But his song is hungry eyes. So, is his eyes...
I know.
Can he eat with his eyes?
That's the thing, you know. He didn't
Talk?
He wasn't very good with anatomy, apparently.
Yeah.
Now, come on. There are other places on your body that do make noise.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, Shakira's hips don't lie, so they must be speaking.
I mean, the woman could fart.
Okay.
Okay, you sneeze. That's from your nose. Do we need to go through all the noises?
Yeah,
you
so
can crack your knuckles.
yeah, so when he says like you need to hear it from your lips,
Yes.
doesn't mean it necessarily has to be words that you're hearing.
If she's hungry, her stomach might growl. Okay, so yeah, he wants to hear it from her lips, and this is the song that Louise Mandrell made more famous.
Okay.
I had this outside of the top 5. That's why she did it. Was in my top 5. You had this at number 4. This came from his album Eric Carmen, number 2. He had 2 self-titled albums, right? Because he put out all these hits and nobody cared. So he's like, oh, put another album out. Nobody's gonna notice. All right, number 4, coming from Change of Heart. Which, by the way, is what he said.
Third Change of Hearts we know of, because we know of Tom Petty and Huey Lewis.
Yes, there's probably. I'm sure there's another one out there, but Eric Carmen, that actually put him out as singles.
Right.
So there are probably more out there, just not as singles. All right, and this song, believe it or not, he's a 70s artist basically. Not a whole lot of hits in the 80s for him, but our top 5 only has one 70s song, and this is it. "Baby, I Need Your Loving," and it wasn't even his hit. It was from the Four Tops, but I recognized
Yeah.
it. And
Yep.
I had it at 3. You had it
Baby,
at
I
5.
need your loving.
Yeah, I forget who's in the.
How does
four,
that go? That's how it goes.
Who's in the Four Tops? Anybody famous?
I don't know, probably.
And did they do anything?
that
in the 80s?
was before our time, even though we've heard stuff from them.
Right. And there's a lot of bands like that. Yeah. So that was from 1978. So right before the turn of the decade. And that came from Change of Heart. Number 3, coming from the 1988 Summer Olympics album. Yes, there was an album put out just for the Summer Olympics.
But we already mentioned this album
during Whitney Houston.
Yeah, and the album's called One Moment to.
Well, her song.
One moment in time.
That's her song. Yes.
Yes. And his song was called
Reason to Try.
The Olympics. They're the reason to try. You know the Olympics? Don't bother.
Right, because that's
reason.
That's what an Olympian wants to hear. Get out there and try.
Yeah.
You don't want to say, go win this thing. No, just give it your best. Try.
Yoda.
There is no try.
Do or don't do.
Right. So you have this at 3. I have it at 4. This was his last charted song. Wasn't a very big hit. I think it was 87 overall. That's as high as it went. But it was his last charted song. All right, that brings us to the top 2 songs. So it is all in the 80s. The one I like the best, you put it at number 2, coming from Dirty Dancing. It's "Hungry Eyes." You know, don't try sticking food in your eye. It's like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Oh yeah.
Or Steve Martin.
Steve Martin is the fork. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, obviously it's a different meaning, not actually food.
Right. It's just a desire.
Desire, right. So, again, he doesn't know anatomy though. You want to hear stuff from your lips, and your eyes are hungry. He's like, huh. Okay, that means the number one song is your number one, and my number two. It came following the Hungry Eyes song the year after, and this was actually his second biggest charted song, right after All By Myself.
Which is nowhere on our list whatsoever.
Correct. Yeah, that's one of those songs.
I had a coworker. I had All By Myself was playing at the time on my MP3 player, and the coworker said, "This is the saddest song I've ever heard."
There actually is a video out there. I think it's a compilation. It says songs people hate.
Oh, okay.
I believe All By Myself is on there. Hits that people hate. So this song is not that song. This is Make Me Lose Control, which he had to put on his Best Of album. He didn't put out an album for this song. And you thought it was in the 70s. Would have been late 70s if he did. But it's your number one.
This is the same message as Autograph, just worded differently. Because Autograph is turn up the radio. Is that how it's
Yes,
okay.
turn up the radio.
And
What
he
does
says
say?
turn the radio up.
Oh yeah, he does say it. And in the video ain't great, but the DJ in the beginning is Kid Leo from Cleveland.
Okay.
So apparently that is who Eric
And
Carmen
I'm assuming the Make Me Lose Control is the same message as Miami Sound Machine's Rhythm Is Gonna Get You. Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so like the music starts and you're like, you just start moving to it. You're not consciously doing it.
Right. So it's
I
better.
hope it's that message and not you're now old and you have no control of
That's
your
right.
pulse.
This is Eddie Money song. No control, and you're shaking.
Well, no, I meant like, diarrhea or something.
This bowel movement.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Whoops.
No, okay. And also in the videos, because he apparently is a movie buff. Even though he said, this is funny, he didn't really want to do movie songs.
Yeah.
Because he said that's where good music goes to die.
Okay.
Yet, his best song to me is from Dirty Dancing. And he wrote the hit. Did Almost Paradise didn't win the?
But he
Oscar.
co-wrote it with somebody else, so he didn't.
Yes,
win.
but it was up for an Oscar nomination. So his
Okay.
two movie hits, both memorable, and he thinks they go there to die. All right, so Make Me Lose Control, our number one from our top five,
Yes.
and that's it for Eric Carmen because he wasn't all that memorable to me. I mean, the name I remember the name, and
yeah.
like, what was he singing again? You have to be reminded. So, anyways, he passed. By the time we put this out, it'll be a month past.
Yeah.
All right. So next
Next
week
week is back to we're still on easy listening.
yeah, this was easier listen. No, his is easier listening. This is easy listening. That'll be easier to listen to, as his was not. All right. So that's next week. See if you can guess who it is, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.